All right, moving on.
All right.
Ashley, you take this one. You're a Marvel fan.
Okay, so we were talking about Shang Chi just a little bit ago. I'm not sure if anyone has actually seen
Is it
the
me or is
movie.
Ashley really low right
She's
now?
lower. Yep. Good thing we didn't hear her go.
Oh,
Oh.
she turned on her air conditioner. There
No,
you go.
it's been on this entire time. I'm just letting you know.
Oh.
What?
So
Can't hear you.
Is something on top of your computer?
no,
Like a paper? Oh, that's weird. You're slow. Anyway, go on.
no. So Shang Chi. Has anybody seen it yet?
No, don't spoil it.
Yeah, please
Okay,
don't.
well, it's
We're
not.
not
It's
talking
not.
about the movie.
It's not a spoiler. So
It's about the guy.
yeah, it's about
Yeah,
the actor. So Simu, I think.
See who said what.
That's fucked up.
Simu Liu.
Yeah, basically. I'm not going to say Simu because I think that's very wrong. He
You just said
allegedly once compared being a pedophile to being gay, which he said was related to a genetic mutation and an illness, and it was something that he was sympathetic towards. So what he
That's
says
the most
is,
backhanded.
oh, no.
like-
Well, he
Yeah,
said he
we're
was.
getting-
This is on like
I mean,
I think
he's
Reddit,
saying
correct?
Reddit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
it's
on
on
Reddit.
Reddit. So this is what he actually said. I recently did a show in which I played a pedophile and did a significant amount of research, clinical studies, mind you, not the method stuff, on disorder and how it's perceived in the media. In the end, the role completely changed the way I look at pedophilia and has made me much more sympathetic to anyone who is born with those urges.
Okay.
Keep
Let's see
going
what
with
he's
it.
saying.
I was gonna say, is there more?
Well, then he
'Cause
says from
There's
a
more.
he says
Oh,
from
I
a
don't have the
biological stand. Oh, I sent it in the second link. From a biological standpoint, it's no different than being gay. A small mutation in the genome that defines our sexual preferences. Depending on what area of the world you were born and what time, it also may have been a perfectly acceptable thing to act on those urges. Now, we all know that taking advantage of minors is wrong, disgusting, and vile even. But with the exception of Germany, we are going about it completely, in all caps, the wrong way. It's like we having learned. I guess he means haven't learned anything by studying homosexuality. We're talking about exploring the same curses to pedophilia as we were about homosexuality 20 years ago, a la conversion therapy and whatnot. It does go on. It continue goes on. You know, talking.
A very eloquent way to say that being gay is bad.
No,
No.
I don't think it's
The
that.
comparison is
I don't
very
know.
outdated now to say it that way.
I get what he was saying is that because he played this role, like he got.
But
to
he
learn
used
a
the
little
word
bit more.
curses.
Yeah,
Why
I
He
didn't.
would
put
it-
him in. He put him in
quotes.
parentheses to quote like how society was treating homosexuality 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
how it's continually.
They'd like
treating
fry your
pedophilia.
brain to try to, pray the gay away or whatever.
That
and
being
it doesn't
said, the
work.
genetic mutation part, I think, is
A
what
little
he's
bit.
honing in on, and
So-
saying that
Yeah.
No, he said
they both
also the
deserve sympathy
nurture.
because of it.
He said
But-
nurture, how your society acted at the time. He was trying to just hit both ends of that, but
Yes.
I just don't think actors should go.
But he's trying to. He's also trying to go with that's you're born that way,
right.
and
That's
And
pretty much
comparing
I mean,
it to pedophilia.
mm,
So
I don't.
know how I feel about this because he's very much about positive, vibes and like eliminating hate and all that. And even now he's still saying, he only meant it from a good place. He wasn't trying to
Sounds
like
like
bash
it.
one or the other. It probably wasn't the right way to go about saying it.
I
Definitely wasn't.
I hear what he's saying, and I agree with you, Ashley, that it was, I guess, how it came out. But
Right.
no pun intended with that. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. But
Shane's
I
like, "What?"
didn't mean it that way. But I mean, I listened to these two guys in the morning on the radio, and one of them was saying how they were talking to another comedian, and it was actually a joke in one of his in his set, and he said something along the lines of like, thanking God that he wasn't born a pedophile,
Pedophile.
and and like the other comedian jokes around, he's like, yeah, I hate kids. Every time I see him, I just want to kick them or something like that. And he broke it down to his co-host and was like, I was thinking about it, and what a ridiculously hard life to have these temptations constantly at you like this. And he's not he's not sympathizing with the people that do it. He's sympathizing with the thought of doing it. And obviously, he said when you do it, you cross the line, and that's when you get a, you should absolutely be jailed and blah 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 and all this jazz.
Well, I
Questions.
That's like a,
And
but that's like a that's a mental illness like any other mental.
Sure.
illness.
Well, real quick,
So-
I think that where he's trying to, or at least he's seen. First of all, sometimes celebrities say things off the cuff. This wasn't that because he wasn't speaking. He had time
a
to sit
Reddit
down,
post.
Yeah.
and write it and rewrite it and
With
revise
typos,
it
though.
and with still typos. He had an
Still
opportunity
like a little
to
internet
really.
blog post. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like a
Like-
little.
It's not. I mean, he's not like
But he-
speaking as an expert on this thing. You know,
He's
you know,
not.
Well, no,
but
neither
he's
was Nicki
speaking-
Minaj, right?
He's,
Right.
well, he's speaking about like the
What the
research he
heck?
did.
That was crazy what Nicki
and
Minaj did.
He's putting it on science, and I do think that it's. I understand if he's trying to put a correlation. Say, hey,
If you wanted
we
to
all
compare it to
understand.
depression, or if you wanted to compare it to something that affects other people, things that can be violent, but he compared
Yes.
a genetic
Yeah.
mutation and called it pretty much a mental illness, the way that pedophilia is a mental illness for those people because they're having unnatural urges or urges they don't want to have or have to like stop themselves from.
Well, he didn't. He didn't say a mental disorder. We did.
Well,
No, he
Yeah,
said
No, he
yeah,
said a
but-
mutation.
Genetic
A
mutation. Yes,
which
he
is-
said a genetic
Yes.
mutation. So is
That-
cancer, right?
yes.
And
he
I'm not
decided
defending the
he-
guy.
he
I'm just
decided
trying to look
Yeah,
at
that's
it
what I'm saying.
from an
The words
open
do matter.
standpoint.
He decided
just
to
didn't
compare
say it
being
right.
gay as something that is bad
That's
that
my
people
point.
are fighting against being
But I think he was
rather
referencing how it
than
used
the
to be seen that way.
pedophilia. That's why I said if you wanted to do something that was as equally like bad but uncontrollable, then I can understand the comparison. But when you put that in together with pedophilia, it's not the same.
I have a
That's my
question.
thing.
Think about it the other way around. Maybe he's trying to say that pedophilia is where the way we think about it is where we were when we thought about
He is.
gays.
That's
That's
exactly
what I
what
was
he's doing.
hearing.
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
But
which
he
is
could also
not-
say that, there used to be a lot of people would look at suicide as just the most selfish, worst thing you could do. I won't. Balls used to tell me like if someone commits suicide, I'm not going to your wedding because how fucking dare you? You're
Funeral.
selfish.
Can't go to your wedding. You're dead.
Yeah, funeral. Sorry, funeral. Sorry, my funeral. I mean, it's the same thing, kind of. Sorry, Darius.
Necro.
Ball said, "Give it time." No, but like,
I
he's like,
never would have put you in my opening had I known better. So anyway, go ahead.
I won't go to your funeral because you did a selfish thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that is like in recent years and decades, while some people may still have their feelings on it, has come to light to be like, it's not just a selfish thing. It's not just something to hurt other people. It
Yeah.
is a legitimate illness and disease that you have that harms oneself. And how we have evolved as a society to understand the science of it, these people are harming children, and that's the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yep.
But we're looking at it. Please try to look at it in a way like these people should be able to have avenues to get help, which ultimately what he's trying to say. I agree with you, Tater. Like to compare it to homosexuality that is not hurting anyone is misunderstood, and I understand what he was trying to go for. I just think he failed. I personally think he failed at
No,
it
he did. He definitely
because
did.
he could have compared it to something that
Was
is
equally
harmful.
traumatic and
Yes.
uncontrollable and something that we looked down upon before,
Well,
Hell, murderers. Look at Dexter's
my-
based on a real
Yeah.
thing
Serial
that people
killers,
go through.
yes.
I hear
Well,
it as
to
he's
my
comparing the
argu-
stigma. It's the
Yes.
stigma. It's not that he actually thinks that being gay is wrong
that's
at all.
that's where
He
it's
definitely
staying
saying
with
that he
me.
thinks being a pedophile is wrong.
Yeah.
But the idea that a person who has those urges can talk to their therapist and there's no like way to like get them help. You're like the second you tell your therapist you're considering or thought about those things, you're already in trouble for the rest of your life.
Right.
It makes
And
the
with
same
That made
thing
me
with
think of a
Brandon for
question.
having
It has a-
homosexual urges at the like in the 60s or
Yep.
50s or whatever. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
he was
hearing.
comparing with it from the past. Yeah.
Yes.
Like
How
your
do you
society reacts to
are
it.
there pedophiles that actually get better, if that's even a thing?
That's the thing. There's such a stigma towards it because the society we live in right now thinks it's.
I mean, they
wrong.
get let back out.
Well, like
They
take,
they're in the
Well,
registry
I
and
I
stuff
made
like
these
that.
days, like that was part of boyhood. That
well,
was
I made
norm.
reference to or religious organizations earlier in this podcast that protect child rapists and pedophiles, i.e., the Catholic Church does have whole communities spread out throughout the world where they will sometimes take priests who have, I don't know what the proper term is, resign, and they will keep them in the community of other former pedophile priests, and they kind of lock themselves away from society to resist those, to basically to stop themselves from doing it. I don't.
No, they're not. They're sending children there.
I mean, I hope not. It's very possible.
I'm
Who
sorry,
knows?
that's a wild accusation, but
I know. Yeah,
it just seems
but-
like the likely possible thing with all the people that do the same thing.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
one
You're right.
question, and this is completely unrelated to Simu, but do you think that the reason why we have pedophiles in the world has something to do with our history of where grown-ass men were marrying children?
Absolutely.
It's
Still happens
everything.
some
Even there's
countries.
ageism in everything. A woman has to be young and beautiful and vibrant in that way. You know, that's how men have designed, like, the patriarchy. You know, saw us
mean,
as that.
You're also easier to
Jesus-
control if you're younger and you're
Yes,
being raised by your
that's-
partner.
Yep.
And also, just look at how long we lived back in the day. Jesus
35,
was considered
right?
an old man at 33
Oh,
years
like
old. He
20,
was
like-
considered like an elder among the community as far as age goes. Because only the
They
most
would've been
affluent,
dead.
wealthy people could survive in the dismal world of ancient Earth.
Hey, we
And
wouldn't have
so
to work anymore. Think about
men
it.
and women were both
I mean, I
they
think
were
they
having families at
slaved you,
11,
though.
12.
Like,
Mm.
The second you became childbearing
Of
age,
age,
and,
yeah.
and seed giving age, that's what you were doing. That's
What's
what you
the
were doing.
seed giving?
Well,
age?
when your
When-
sperm can actually
Thank you.
fertilize an egg.
Wait, what age is that?
depends on the
I
person,
guess it
puberty.
depends,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about the school that the balls and I went to? Our middle school, literally, this girl gave birth the day we tossed our caps in
Graduation.
the air
Yep.
from
That
eighth grade.
situation
You know, I
in
mean,
itself
8th grade
would have
graduation.
been-
and she was 12. I think she was 12 when she got pregnant. And he was
13.
There were
was
a
12 as
handful
well
of
when
people
he-
who was like 11 or 12 in my middle school who got pregnant.
Of course. I mean, that's just unfortunately the way it is. But either way,
Yep.
that on top of how long we lived back in the day, and on top of those men who did live longer, taking those 10, 9, 11-year-old brides, it goes through it. And also society sells us young sex. I mean, the Jonas Brothers ain't nothing but sex on a stick for kids who think they have promise rings and are married to Jesus. Same thing
Shut
with
up.
young
It's also
Ariana
for
Grande.
adults. Nick Jonas is also for adults.
Now.
Now,
Now,
but when they
Oh,
were
yeah,
all on
now, I
Disney,
meant,
Yeah,
yeah.
not before, Taylor.
little JT and little Brittany
Being
were giving
called
kids who
away
were
and
12
being
years
summoned.
old
yep.
hot feelings that they didn't. Some understood and some
No.
Yeah,
you know?
but that's kids for kids. That's okay. It's more the
yeah, but it's also selling
performing
that
for
thing, and
adults
then
part
yeah.
is weird.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I think there's a whole slew of societal
So-
factors.
Now,
I don't think it has to do with.
throwing a wrench in here.
Pedophilia.
So now we know that, or now we agree that, you know, the way we were back way when affects how we are now. So, no? Okay.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I want to just
but I-
interject and say it's also women to young men and also men to young boys.
Yes.
I don't want it always to be this. It's like ancient
It's-
Greece, like Lord Byron type motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's
was
how
really
they gave their
normal back
wisdom to each
then.
other.
It's
yeah.
a power
Yeah.
thing too. It's a power thing
You
too.
would groom men that
Yeah.
way, and then
Well,
they would have their
so-
turn to do the same thing. And
Well,
no one
I
could
mean,
get
didn't
pregnant.
we
It's bad
wasn't
in
like
the world.
incestual marriages kind of a thing? Like, well, it's not like
Oh,
your
yeah.
sister, but it'd be your
Yeah.
cousin and shit
That,
like
that's
that.
how you have
Fuck,
to.
watch your
Oh.
crown.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You know what?
Well, not that, but
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
the
Tati?
royals.
I did.
Yeah,
I
but
did.
that's not real.
I mean,
know
she's
you-
like,
I know you want the dragons to be real, but
No,
you know.
What's his name? Mr. Baratheon, golden of
Baratheon.
hair or something. You know.
With the hair, the what? The guy that changed what? I don't.
Joffrey
know. I'm not
Baratheon
even
was
gonna-
golden of hair.
Hair,
and
yep, uh-huh.
fair of thing because
And then the
Jamie
other guy
fucked
was, like,
Cersei, and I
black
still
and-
can't blame Jamie.
Oh
'cause
my
Cersei
gosh.
was- I mean,
scissor
Yeah.
me, Cersei, scissor me.
But I think
Oh,
that's what that
Cersei
guy is
scissored
going
you?
for. It's like
It's a
we
South
could
Park
say that
reference.
like brothers and sisters can't get married, but ultimately it doesn't hurt anyone except for their gene pool. I'm not fighting for it, obviously, but like at certain times in history,
You don't
it's
have a hot
okay-
sibling.
I know, right? Dang, but
That's how you can tell.
sticking to
That's how I can
Well,
tell
like,
she's not for
I'll
it.
show you. I'll show you a picture of my brother again.
I'm sticking to the cousins, but like No, it's like over time though, it goes in and out of fashion, and so did.
Yeah.
Well,
doing
that's
the
what I'm
youth
saying. And then
marrying a
you know, you wonder
13-year-old.
about the effects of like sexual abuse and incest and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, these are behaviors that were, you know, okay, you know, centuries ago and stuff like that. So
So,
Oh, and
do
also
we
in
get
other
to a
cultures,
point
it's still okay. That's
where
what's
we
weird.
understand that people have a problem and we give them an opportunity to correct it and get rid of the stigma?
I
would
think the
hope
stigma
so.
needs to be
Yeah.
there to stop people from being pedophiles. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Not to defend them, but they're afraid to speak up, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing of what he's saying, right? They're afraid to speak up because they'll get crucified. I have these feelings, and I don't want it. I
Well,
don't
these
want to
people
do it.
aren't actually seeking help because they don't feel like they'll get any help.
Well, I think there should be a different that we ideally society should look at urge and instinct and as a, differently from acting on said instincts and urges. Like if you
yeah, 'cause
realize
I
there's
think
something
about a
wrong
lot
with
of
you,
dumb shit. I don't do it.
yeah, I mean, if you,
Dumb shit Tati thinks of.
it's like
Next
That's how
Minority
I'm
Report.
alive. I say no, girl.
It's like
Not
Minority
yet.
Report, where yeah, they were arresting people for
Yeah.
having thoughts. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very fine line.
Thank God you can't read my mind.
A very fine line. Man, me too. But
Oh, did you fart? I read it. I read your mind.
But going back to the actor from Shang Chi, what can he do, if anything, in each person's opinion, to correct or clarify and move
Kiss a
on
man.
from this?
Not say anything.
Yes, a kiss a gay man.
Honestly, how old is this Reddit post?
A
Are we
few
like
years.
gonna dig up things forever? Like,
Oh,
it's
is it?
so stupid.
Yeah,
It's a few
it's,
years old,
it,
yeah.
it
I
is a
mean,
few
he
years
just
old.
has
Oh,
to
get
say,
off
sorry,
it.
that's not what I
It's
intended,
not
which he already
relevant
did, right?
anymore. You
What's
know,
that?
like,
So if he already
Well,
said,
so
sorry, that wasn't what I intended, I'm clearing
He
it
hasn't
up.
though. He's putting out
He
like cryptic
hasn't.
tweets
So
about stuff.
He's basically
He's going
saying
about it the
that
Trump way.
Twitter is
Oh.
saying basically Twitter put him in a position where people are trying to attack a good person by digging up old things and trying to drag someone through the mud.
Well, he
So-
thinks what he said is good, is helpful. He doesn't think it's wrong.
Right. So
that's why
I
he's
don't
saying
think
that.
he sees what is wrong with his
Yeah.
post, but at the same time, he also is not falling into that trap of I'm going to
Apology.
apologize and then people are going to get on me for apologizing.
Because it's
He's
pointless.
removing himself
trap.
from the from the equation altogether.
Yep.
So
It's
I don't know
thing
if
they
there's
can
a
do.
good way or a bad way to go about apologizing or not apologizing, but I don't know. I feel like just leave him alone.
how old is this post? You
I
said.
think like 3 years, I think, or something like that. I don't know precisely.
If it was like a 5, 6, 10-year thing, you'd be like, do you remember? Like, do you remember growing up how everyone, like, gay marriage wasn't allowed and
Well,
everything?
he's
I'm not saying that's how I thought. But it's just like, it
He's
still
not
feels
saying
fresh
it
to
from
me
like
to see
a
the
random
change.
place of like hatred.
No, yeah,
He's
exactly.
saying it from an educated point of view, and I don't know if that helps or not helps, but
I mean, could it be as simple as just saying I made a shitty analogy, and I should have compared something hurtful to something hurtful, and I didn't. I fucked
but
up.
it-
I
I
am
don't
He
sorry.
doesn't think
I
that
think-
way.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
he's
that
saying that he
either.
doesn't think that pedophiles are like
yeah, he's not.
unredeemable
He's not.
people.
And I think that's also what's wrong.
That's not. Yeah, but that's not what I'm
How
saying.
some
Like he
people are
said that it
written.
is hurtful and terrible. That it, it's. I don't know. I mean,
he's glad that he's not one, but he
I think the
sympathizes with
jury
the
is
struggle that they
out on
have.
this one. The jury
I
is
mean,
out.
I don't
It's
think he's
similar
saying
to
that
s-
about gay people though. That's all. That's a problem when I
Yeah.
read it. It just
It's
seemed like crappy writing. Like that's it.
it's similar to some of the people that say like, oh well, Hitler was a genius for thinking of some of the things he did. I mean, he was evil.
He's
We
evil,
all
but
agree with that. But some of the, I mean, I don't know.
Military mind with certain
Yeah.
things, and
Rabbit hole.
But if you
No, but you
posted
can
that, you
separate-
might
you
get
can
crucified
separate-
for it. You know?
Forever.
I mean, yeah, because why are you bringing?
How
up
dare
Hitler?
you? You're
Although I share the same
anti-Semitic.
birthday with Hitler.
What?
Yeah, or either that, or he's
Uh,
a tourist like me.
He doesn't know what
Cancel.
button to press.
I was gonna make a joke and be like, "Congratulations!" And I was like,
You're gonna hit 'em
no.
all?
Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I mean, is it better or worse than Kevin Hart saying he disowned his gay son? Then this one saying that, this one saying that. People who get canceled never have a career again. People who don't get canceled because they're given a pass. I mean, it's all
I
about.
wonder what Marvel will say about it.
So I
Nothing.
That's
feel-
what I'm worried.
Is Johnny
That's what I'm
Nothing.
worried
Is
about.
Johnny Depp coming back? Because I feel like I'm seeing him more again after the whole ordeal because he won his last case.
Maybe.
Does anyone know about that? Is it just me?
No,
I-
I-
Amber Heard, we know.
I-
Darius might know it.
I wanted him gone years ago just because he's worn
And
out
he's
his
back!
welcome.
there,
Yay!
just in
Speaking
time.
of,
I think Johnny Depp wore out his welcome.
You
years
have to
ago.
say his name 3 times. I watched Candyman. It sucked. It's like,
I never
Wow,
saw
wow.
Candyman, like the
I
old one.
liked it.
I never saw.
nope.
Like, not a lot, but
When
I liked
Balls
it
and I
enough.
were young kids, many decades ago, when Candyman first came out, all
It's
the kids at school would be like, "Are you
This
going in the
sounds
bathroom?
like
Are
a
you gonna say it? Let's
pedophile
go together.
story.
Let's go say it."
We had the bloody
and then
Mary
somebody got
thing.
pregnant.
Was it Shane? Did he poop it in the toilet?
I
Wait,
did.
what might I? What might I know?
What?
Oh, if Johnny Depp's making a comeback, that's what Tater wants to know.
Oh,
Yeah, he's just
Exactly.
coming around more and stuff like that.
Okay,
call it a
speaking of getting
comeback.
pregnant, Quickie.
Hey!
I didn't know where
Oh,
that
that
was
was-
going at all.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Thank
I'm
you.
pregnant?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I thought Shane was pregnant.
That's what happens when you shower once a year, Bex. You get pregnant.
Okay,
It's the
can I make a
self-stated.
terrible transition now?
You just
Aw,
did.
man,
You'll do it
don't-
anyway. Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
Abortion.
speaking of
It can't be
putting
worse
things
than
in-
what
Oh,
you said
fuck.
about
Damn, Rebecca.
screwed the pooch.
Hey. You with the
That's
She didn't say
oopsies,
screw
okay.
the puppy. She said
No,
screw
that's
the
that's an intentional
She
word.
said screw the pooch about sexual assault.
I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to like.
I'm out of here.
Screw anybody.
She
Uh-oh. What happened?
Oh,
happened
she
to
needs to go
Bex?
get
didn't
wine.
take it anymore.
She's